Now hold up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel again. Thank y'all so much for coming over, man. Got this video here. It says Prince's last words about Beyonce and Jay-Z are even scarier now. Always say with these videos, I try to, make my own judgment, but it's a lot of stuff that be in these type of videos that be old news. I'm just trying to see what the hell did Prince say and try to look at what he said then and see what has come out now. So we ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
April 15th, 2016. Prince's final social media post, just when you thought you were safe. 6 days later, he was dead.
And we are coming on the air right now with the breaking news that the pioneering musician Prince has died at the age of 57.
In his final months, Prince had been fighting Jay-Z for control of his masters. The same masters he had written "slave" on his face to protect were now being targeted by someone he had trusted.
Prince's record label just sued the rapper's company for illegally streaming just about every hit song the late singer ever released.
But the real war was about something darker. Prince had discovered secrets about the industry's golden couple. Secrets about stolen songs and silenced artists. This is why they had to stop him. In the final months of his life, Prince had become a man obsessed with protection. The artist who once danced freely across stages now moved through Paisley Park like a fortress under siege. New security protocols were implemented. His inner circle was scrutinized and reduced. The purple one, who had spent decades fighting for artistic freedom, was now fighting for something even more precious: his life. The paranoia wasn't without reason. After finally regaining control of his master recordings from Warner Bros. In 2014, Prince had achieved the victory that defined his entire career. Those masters represented more than music. They were his legacy, his children's inheritance, his proof that an artist could defeat the machine that sought to own them. But victory had made him a target.
Well, this is certainly the sort of news that you don't want to believe is true, but Prince has died at the age of 57 years old.
In those final years, Prince's behavior shifted dramatically. He implemented strict new security protocols at Paisley Park and became intensely selective about his inner circle. But did any of it help?
That also really concerned me, because it made me think that, wow, so you mean you do all these things to take care of yourself and you die so young?
The streaming wars were reshaping the music industry, and Prince's catalog was the ultimate prize. When Jay-Z launched Tidal in 2015, promising artist-friendly terms and revolutionary payouts, Prince saw an opportunity to support a platform that claimed to put creators first. The initial agreement was simple. One album, Hit and Run Phase 1, would stream exclusively on Tidal for 90 days. It should have been straightforward. Instead, it became Prince's final battlefield. Within months of signing, Tidal began pushing for something far beyond the original agreement. They wanted full ownership rights to Prince's entire catalog, the very masters he had spent decades fighting to control.
What do we say? They make more money off of you when you're gone. So if they can control your music and you're not here no more, and like I said, the first thing we do when people, especially music artists, die, what we do? Play the hell out of their music. Some people may have not listened to them in years, and all of a sudden they playing every song. If it's an athlete or something that passed away, you're watching their highlights. If it's a actor, you're watching their movies. So everything goes up.
This wasn't the artist-friendly partnership that had been promised. This was the same Tory behavior Prince had battled his entire career, now wearing the mask of revolutionary change. Tidal is a new company. It's brand new. Prince had told Ebony magazine, still hopeful about the platform's mission. When there's a company like that, or the OWN network, situations where we finally get into a position to run things, we all should help. But behind the scenes, Prince was discovering that running things didn't mean what he thought it meant. The pressure to surrender his masters intensified. Meetings became confrontations. The revolutionary platform was starting to look like every other corporate that had tried to cage his music. Prince began asking questions that made powerful people uncomfortable. If Tidal was truly artist-owned, why were they demanding the same control that major labels sought? If this was about empowering creators, why was he being pressured to sign away the very rights he had fought to reclaim? The answers he found changed everything. As Prince dug deeper into Tidal's operations and ownership structure, he began to see patterns that disturbed him. The platform that claimed to champion artist rights was using the same tactics that had enslaved musicians for generations. But this time, looked like the artists themselves. His security concerns weren't just about physical safety. They were about protecting information that could expose the entire system. In those final weeks, Prince spoke to close associates about dangerous elements within the industry, about powerful figures who punished those who challenged them, about exclusive parties where young artists felt pressured to compromise themselves for career advancement.
Did all the work, I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise.
As Prince's investigation deepened, the true scope of Jay-Z's manipulation became clear. The Tidal deal wasn't about artist empowerment. It was about acquiring Prince's catalog through deception, using the language of revolution to disguise old-fashioned corporate piracy. The pressure tactics escalated throughout 2015 and into 2016. What had begun as a simple streaming agreement morphed into demands for complete ownership. Jay-Z's team wasn't subtle about their ultimate goal. They wanted Prince's masters, and they were willing to use any method necessary to get them. Prince had seen this movie before with Warner Brothers, but at least they had been honest about their greed. Jay-Z's approach was more insidious, wrapping exploitation in the rhetoric of Black empowerment and artist solidarity. The man who rapped about the struggles of the streets was using those same tactics against the very artists he claimed to champion. The breaking point came when Prince discovered how extensively Tidal was already streaming his music without permission. The original agreement covered one album for 90 days. Instead, Tidal was treating his entire catalog as their property, generating revenue from his life's work while he received nothing beyond the initial streaming fee. This wasn't a mistake. It was theft. Systematic, calculated, and protected by legal language designed to confuse artists about their actual rights. Prince had spent decades fighting this exact battle with white executives. Now he was facing the same exploitation from someone who looked like him and spoke the language of liberation. The legal documents told the real story. While Tidal publicly positioned itself as artist-friendly, the actual contracts were just as anything the major labels offered. Worse in some ways, because they used the pretense of solidarity to make artists lower their guard. Prince began preparing his counterattack. He wasn't just going to fight for his own masters. He was going to expose the entire scam that Jay-Z was running on vulnerable artists who trusted him because of his background and rhetoric. But powerful people don't like being exposed, especially when their entire empire is built on lies. Prince's final weeks were consumed with documenting everything he had discovered. The meetings with associates weren't just about his own safety. They were about ensuring the truth would survive even if he didn't. He spoke about dangerous industry practices, about powerful figures who destroyed careers for sport, about young artists being pressured into compromising situations to advance their careers. The exclusive parties he referenced weren't just social gatherings. They were recruitment centers where naive artists were identified and geared for exploitation. The same system that had created Jay-Z and Beyonce was now being used to find their next victims. Prince's security protocols weren't paranoia. They were preparation for war against enemies who had unlimited resources and no moral boundaries. He had challenged the wrong people, and he knew they wouldn't hesitate to eliminate threats to their empire. The cryptic social media post, "Just when you thought you were safe," took on new meaning in this context. It wasn't just a warning to his fans, it was a message to Jay-Z and Beyonce that he knew what they were doing, and he wasn't going to stay silent about it. 6 days later, Prince was found dead in an elevator at Paisley Park. The official cause was an accidental overdose of fentanyl, but those who knew about his
All that information before he said he was found dead, all that information, Prince, a person who seemed very careful, very strategic on things that he did in life, Prince.
investigation understood the timing was too convenient to be coincidental.
One time when I was with him privately, he said, "You know what the elevator is, right?"
No.
I said, "No, what's the elevator?" He said, "Well, the elevator is the devil."
Jay-Z's response came 1 month after Prince's death through his lyrics. Prince left his masters where they are safe and sound. We are never going to let the elevator take him down. Framed as tribute, many heard it as something else entirely. A victory lap from someone who had eliminated a threat to their empire. The fact that Jay-Z specifically referenced the elevator where Prince died wasn't accidental. It was a message to anyone else who might consider exposing their operation. Prince's death didn't end the Tidal controversy. It eliminated the only person powerful enough to expose it. Within months of his passing, the true scope of Jay-Z's catalog acquisition strategy became clear as Prince's estate was forced into legal battles they were never prepared for. The estate's lawsuit against Roc Nation revealed the extent of Tidal's unauthorized streaming. What should have been a simple case of contract violation became a years-long legal nightmare that drained resources and energy from preserving Prince's actual legacy. This wasn't coincidence. It was strategy. By tying up Prince's estate in litigation, Jay-Z's team effectively silenced any investigation into their business practices. The family was too busy fighting for basic rights to expose the larger conspiracy that had led to Prince's death. The pattern extended far beyond Prince's catalog, and Prince had actually been warning fellow artists about it all along. In an interview, Prince mentioned offering to teach Beyonce piano, expressing surprise that she knew about music.
Much that I was really curious as to how much she knew musically, and I was trying to show her some chords on the piano and help her to respect the fact that if she learns piano a la Aretha Franklin and Ray Charles and things like that, I mean, the sky's the limit as to what she could do.
On the surface, this might seem like an innocent comment, but Prince, known for his meticulous choice of words, knew the impact of his statements. Prince's comment wasn't just about Beyoncé's knowledge of music, it was about the authenticity of her talent. Prince, a self-taught musical genius who produced, composed, and played all his songs, hinted that Beyoncé's success was more about her looks and connections rather than genuine musical talent. This is a sharp contrast to Prince's own journey, where he honed his skills through sheer dedication and hard work. But Prince's subtle critiques didn't end there. In a 1998 interview, he spoke about the overuse of sampling in modern music, a practice he believed undermined originality.
You know, I am a musician. I don't sample. You know, it's not Memorex. I go on stage and my microphone is on.
This was another indirect diss towards Beyonce, who, along with Jay-Z, is known for heavily sampling other artists' work. One notable example is Beyoncé's hit Crazy in Love, which features extensive sampling. While sampling can be a creative tool, Prince saw it as a lack of originality, especially when artists don't properly credit the original creators. This criticism was echoed when Kellis called out Beyoncé and Pharrell Williams for sampling her music without permission on the Renaissance album. In several posts uploaded to social media in 2022, Kellis pointed out that Bey's Renaissance song, Energy, contained pieces of her 2003 hit Milkshake, and maintained she was never asked for permission. My mind is blown too because the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all three parties involved is astounding, she wrote. I heard about this the same way everyone else did. Nothing is ever as it's.
So when people be calling them out, do they even respond, or do their response come from their team? Because like I said, it's been a lot said about the two of them, and it just seems like they just are told not to say nothing. It'll fade away.
Seems. Some of the people in this business have no soul or integrity, and they have everyone fooled. The issue of not crediting original artists has been a recurring theme in Beyoncé's career. Beyond sampling, Beyoncé has faced accusations of taking inspiration from other artists without giving due credit. She has been accused of copying dance moves, outfits, and even music videos. First, there was Beyoncé's hit song, If I Were a Boy. Some people allege that she stole this song. This #1 ballad from Beyoncé's I Am, Sasha Fierce, was written by BC Jean, who was inspired by the idea after a recent breakup. After writing the song with producer Toby Gad, she started shopping the song to labels as her lead single. However, once Beyoncé's team got a sniff of it, they decided to let Ms. Carter record her own version. BC was credited as the songwriter, which was bizarre to her considering she didn't intend for anyone else to sing the song. It's an amazing compliment, but I was like, that's great, but it's going to be on my album, she said in 2011. And it can be on my album too. I just didn't realize how it worked. Sounds like someone was taken for a ride. However, BC later clarified that the internet exaggerated claims that her song was stolen. As if that's not enough, Bey allegedly stole Baby Boy from a struggling singer-songwriter. Back in 2003, artist Jennifer Armour sent a demo of her song, Got a Little Bit of Love for You, to Beyoncé's record label, Columbia Records. A few months later, she heard Baby Boy on the radio and thought the song sounded awfully familiar. She filed a lawsuit, but ultimately lost because she couldn't prove to the judge that
See what I'm saying? This is exactly what I'm talking about. You can't win. Like, they're so powerful and her influence is so strong. You know what I mean? Like, it's really sad, man, because I know that these songs that these people be writing are very near dear to their hearts, you know, and all she has to do is sing it. Beyonce, all she got to do is sing it, and it's people, oh my God, that's incredible. You know what I mean? Like, damn.
physically heard her song first. Beyoncé also allegedly stole dance moves for her Formation World Tour. Dancer and choreographer Marlon Oritz called Bey out for stealing dance moves from her troupe's show De La Guarda. She took her grievances to social media, where she wrote in a lengthy Instagram post that, while inspiration is nice, she and her struggling colleagues would at least like a little credit. Beyoncé, you have the nerve to steal exact concepts and choreography from other real creative geniuses. You stole from Breaking Surface. You stole the stomping from De La Guarda. Fuerza Bruta. It's okay to be inspired, but at least make the effort to make it your own. Then Azealia Banks exploded on social media with accusations that sent shockwaves through the industry. Fresh off Beyoncé and Jay-Z's On the Run 2 tour, Banks wasn't holding back anymore. I realized that my ex-dancer Ashanti choreographed for Beyoncé and stole the original choreography Jip Jack made for Count Contessa. Banks wrote in a series of Instagram stories that had the Bayhive in meltdown mode. Beyoncé needs to get over herself and just hire me. But Banks was just getting started. She called out the entire female empowerment facade that Beyoncé had built her brand on. I really hope Beyoncé gets real with herself soon and humbles herself enough to accept the visions and full projects women who admire her put together for her. Banks continued. Like we don't need any more Beyoncé thought moments. I have no clue why she wants to be a regular bee. The attack was brutal and personal. Banks wasn't just calling out theft, She was exposing the hypocrisy at the heart of Beyoncé's empire. 2 years earlier, Banks had been even more direct. She's not an artist, she's a poacher. She takes food out of darker-skinned women's mouths and pretends to be inspired. She needs to stay under Jay-Z's foot where she belongs and stay out of the creative woman's way.
Jeez.
Banks was saying what Prince had been thinking for years, that Beyoncé was a guised as an empowerer, systematically destroying the careers of the very women she claimed to champion. But Banks wasn't the only songwriter ready to break her silence. Tiffany Red was about to drop the bombshell that would confirm everything.
Free. I think Beyonce is a brilliant artist. I also think that Beyonce is a hypocrite.
Tiffany Red had finally had enough. The Grammy-winning songwriter who had worked with Jennifer Hudson and Fantasia was watching Beyonce collect checks and accolades for songs she never wrote, while the real creators struggled to pay their bills. Maybe Beyonce will win the Grammy for Album of the Year when she starts paying songwriters and stops taking publishing from them. I hear it's around 15 to 30%. By the way, Grammys don't pay the bills. Pay songwriters, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Parkwood, and Rock Nation. Red wasn't just throwing stones, she was dropping bombs. When she released that lengthy video calling out multiple artists, the industry held its breath, but her real target was clear. The reason I called out Beyonce is because Beyonce is the Michael Jackson of our generation, she said, her voice shaking with rage. I talked to somebody yesterday who's the manager of somebody who's a writer and producer on Renaissance. The record is one of y'all faves. The song was written 6 years before it got to Beyonce. She got 25% of the song. The revelation was devastating. Beyoncé's celebrated Renaissance album wasn't her artistic rebirth. It was a collection of stolen songs she had claimed ownership of years after they were created. I spoke to another writer who wrote and sang on one of y'all favorite songs. Credit not right. His business all effed up. Beyoncé was on tour last year with that record with that person's vocals. Red wasn't just exposing theft. She was revealing a machine designed to silence victims. The reason why people who work for Beyoncé don't talk is they're all on NDAs, because that's how she works. She silences people so that nobody can speak.
There it is.
The NDA revelation confirmed everything Prince had discovered before his death. This wasn't just about individual songs. It was about a systematic operation to steal creativity and silence the real artists who created it. She also wrote on X, "My hope is that on Act 2, Beyoncé will pay songwriters a songwriter fee and master points and not take publishing or songwriting credit on any songs she did not write." In any case, artists are finally speaking up about what Prince discovered in those final weeks. Tiffany Red broke her NDA to expose Beyoncé's theft network. Kellis went public about her stolen samples. Songwriters are sharing their stories of systematic exploitation, just like Prince predicted they would. The streaming wars Prince warned about have destroyed artists' incomes while making platforms billions. The theft machine he exposed is still operating, still silencing voices, still stealing creativity from real artists and handing it to manufactured celebrities. Jay-Z and Beyoncé's empire keeps growing, built on the same exploitation they once claimed to fight against. Every stolen song, every silenced songwriter, every artist bullied into signing away their rights proves Prince was right about everything. The elevator at Paisley Park isn't just where Prince died. It's become a warning to any artist thinking about exposing the truth. Step out of line, and you might join him. But some artists are still fighting, still speaking out despite the threats, the lawsuits, the career destruction that awaits anyone who challenges the machine. Prince's courage lit a fire that his death couldn't extinguish. Anyway, that's it for this video.
You know, when they say, oh, this person said this or this person said that, and then they show them actually saying it, or they'll show like a tweet or something like that, it's like, look, it's a lot of people who have been talking about them for years, but I think that their fan base is so strong that a lot of them will stick with them through thick and thin, no matter what they do. That's the scary part, you know, when these people idolize these celebrities. But look, man, for Prince to come out and say all that stuff and then be gone like 6 days later is wild, man. You know, having to sign these NDAs and stuff like that. I'm telling you, man, like, that's why I be like, these people be making so much money, man. And then the greed just sets in. Because it's like, you got enough money that's going to last you a lifetime. Your kids, your grandkids, but you still allegedly want to take from others. You know? Like, you got these, that's why I said a lot of these people who want to be artists, who want to be in the industry, you don't need it. Just record yourself singing. It ain't even got to be the best audio. People don't understand. I think people underestimate how important raw talent is, raw videos. You know, you don't need the best of the best. Just be yourself, be real. And, you know, people will appreciate that. How many artists have you seen that started off from nothing and now you can't even recognize them, you know? Hey, appreciate y'all coming over and watching, man. This is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot that's starting to come out. And like I said, these old videos are very important because it was stuff that we probably missed. Appreciate y'all. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.